Hello.
Hi,
How are
Hello.
you?
talking about traumas.
Yes.
And since this is an inquiry session, I I have you talk a lot about the holograms that
Mm,
certain other people sparks in us. That it's not what they say, what they do. It's really not their action, and
yeah.
it's not them doing anything. It's really about the hologram that comes up and is being projected to me.
Mm.
And I think I have realized that, and maybe I'm overdoing it and overthinking it because I should just feel it because it is to feel, and it is really a lot to feel. But issues is for every other person's. I mean, I have this. Uh, it's not. I'm frightened of not being enough.
Mm.
Not being good enough, not being enough.
Mm.
But I also think that below being enough is, and then you just brought death up because when I was small, um, my parents did not take very good care of me, and if I was not enough, if they didn't see me, I I could be abandoned, and
Mm,
I could die from that.
Mm.
So I think even though I have never felt anxiety or being afraid of death, I don't think about it.
mm,
So apparently there is a bypassing there as well.
yeah.
But I think all these is actually, so when I'm afraid of not being enough or that somebody does not meet my needs in a way that I feel, I think it spins really fast into
Yes.
the
Yes.
fear of dying,
Mm.
Mm,
being left alone and
Yeah.
die.
Yeah.
And it's really heavy.
Yeah.
yeah,
It
of
is.
course.
It is. It is. Absolutely is.
And and I I expect it to be like I just need to feel it whenever it arises. And that's tough also
It is. Yeah.
because I feel it a lot in many situations and I get like really uncertain and scared, and even though when I logically look at it, I don't have anything to be scared of. It's
Mm.
really just the hologram coming up saying,
Yeah.
I could die from this.
Yeah.
You will die if you're not enough.
Yeah.
And is it is it is the only way just keep feeling it and not
No. No.
overthinking it.
No. Because that can be um that can you can't keep feeling it, because to keep feeling it, if you really feel it and there's not a thought attached to it, it takes 7 seconds and then it's sorted. So when you keep experiencing it over and over, it's because there keep being a thought attached to it.
Yeah.
I would like to say just in a little bracket that whenever we have a feeling of not being good enough, that is going hand in hand with the feeling of being too much. So
Yeah.
we are both not good enough, and we're both in the way and too much and should be a little bit less.
Yeah.
So it's no matter how we treat those are the two sides of it. And that thought of not being good enough, and then when you try to be good enough, you go into the other thought of now I'm too much. So it's like an ongoing battle in the mind that is throwing you back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. At no
Yeah.
point are you in the body. You are in your mind trying to think yourself out of this, and that will never happen. That will never happen because the mind will keep adding new stuff.
Yeah.
It's only when you detach the thought. So the thought is when you are sitting and you have a feeling of not being good enough, you let that feeling become big in your body. So you feel that you're not good enough. You detach the thought and then you just sit with the sensory experience. And that can be like a feeling of suffocation. It can be nausea. It can be contractions. It can be hardly breathing. It can be lots of things. Can you be in a body where that is present and you just allow it to be there? Within 7 to 11 seconds, that is going to be exchanged with a sensory shift in the body that is shifting to something else. And a feedback loop is happening up to a thought that is now telling you that you're too much. You're taking up too much space. That is sending another sensory experience into the body. When you catch that, you detach the thought, and now you sit with a sensory experience of being too much. That can be like a headache, dizziness, nausea, again, contraction other places in your body. It can be a feeling of you kind of like making your shoulders smaller. So you're kind of doing the turtle, contracting yourself so you're not taking up too much space and not being too much. So feel into the body. What is happening in your body? Instead of being in that whirlwind of the emotions, which is just thoughts, see if you can pull yourself up and notice which muscles are contracting when I feel that I'm not good enough. Which muscles are contracting when I feel that I'm too much? And
But
can you be in a body where that happens?
yeah, but most of the times it happens maybe in situations where because they are created by thought.
Mm?
Um,
Yeah.
and it happens in situations like when I drive a car or I drive a
Yes.
bike or
Because there's
I'm in
space.
traffic.
There's space. This is something that is so old. This is little Suni that has had that contraction in her body over and over and over and over. You haven't had the emotional or psychological or physical maturity to deal with it until now. So now it comes up whenever there's space. Sitting in the car, what else are you going to do? Work with that.
Yeah.
Doing the dishes, what else are you going to do? Work with that. And that is where the reparenting that we talked about earlier comes in. That you allow those feelings, those sensory experiences to be in the body. Detach the thought, allow it to be there. Notice which muscles are contracted right now. Oh, wow, these are the same muscles as every time I go to the post office. Why is that? Okay, interesting. So there's no correlation between what you thought there was.
Yeah. But because when we did the meditation in the beginning and we were looking into the body, it's like it's it's like this buzzing sensation in the stomach, and it's compared with nausea,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and it's like ongoing in my body for the moment, and it's like yeah, and it is, and but actually that feeling is there all the time, no matter what I feel.
Yeah.
If I laugh or if I'm sad or
Because
and
it's the underlying belief is still there. The undertone of Sunni is that.
yeah,
So and instead of diverting from it, just stay with the sensory experience. Put a hand on your tummy, highlight, oh wow, you know shit again, sweetheart. Even though you're sitting and laughing or you're driving the car or whatever you're doing, have that compassion with yourself. Oh, you're nauseated. It's a sensory experience, it's not a thought. So stay with the sensory experience. You wanted to say something?
Well, I was just gonna say, yeah, I mean, I love all that, but I was just gonna say also to notice that, like you were just pointing at, the that when you feel that sensation in the stomach, already the label nausea is already a label. So see if you can take that off because the label nausea has so much negativity
Mm.
associated with
Yeah.
it. So we
But
really,
I am aware that the sensation can mean both happiness and sadness. And
yeah,
I basically these are just like a, a a basic feeling that can have many different labels on it.
yeah,
Yes.
And
Yes.
I felt that when we did the meditation in the beginning,
Yes.
awesome.
that it could mean many
But
different
it could mean
things.
butterflies. Could mean butterflies
Yeah,
in the stomach, which
yeah,
has a completely different connotation.
So notice then also if you feel something else in your experience, like if you notice that there's sensation there, which could be interpreted different ways, notice if there's something else in your experience which is giving those sensations that particular coloration. We could say that there's a thought, but we have to be specific about what kind of thought it is, whether it is coming in like a visual form,
Mm.
is it a spoken word, is it something where you have something even more vague than that, where you're actually picking up not just the sensation in the belly, but there's something about your facial features, the feeling of the physical expression of the
Yes.
face, things about the internal image of the way the body is, that reflection of if we're sitting there with a big genuine smile, the musculature gives a feedback to the system to let it know what the emotional tone probably is. And if we sit there with a feeling of,
Sadness.
scowling, sadness, that's feeding back into the system to show that, oh, there's something going on in the system that feels like this. So you can be aware of the belly sensations, but also be notice everything that's going on up here physically in the musculature of the face, the expression of it, but also the visual images that show up that reflect that, and anything else that is giving you a tone of sadness, fear, uncomfortable, whatever, and recognize that that is all part of the thing which is making something out of that sensation, so that it's,
Is it okay if I
yeah,
just do a quick
yeah,
exercise?
of course.
This is for everyone. This is for everyone here. I would like for you to just make yourself comfortable, sit straight up, and close your eyes and feel into how it feels to be in the body right now. If you should have one label, it could be like impatient, angry, happy, annoyed. Just one label on what is the feeling tone, like emotion that is connected with how it feels to be in your body right now. Now, on the next inhalation, I would like for you to inhale on a smile, and every inhalation you do from now on, it's only an inhalation on a smile. So you smile, and it's not only on the outside you smile, it's also your tongue that you shape in a way as if it's a smile. So you let your tongue smile as well. Every inhalation you do with the tongue and with your mouth is an inhalation on a smile. And now I would like for you to see what label is on now. What feeling tone do you have now? I bet you it has a positive connotation. Okay, make a deep inhalation and breathe out. Because
Yeah.
this is exactly what Todd is talking about.
Mm.
And this is where the embodiment and why the embodiment is so important, that we really become aware that the way that our body is, the way that our muscles are, it's giving a signal to the brain of how the brain thinks we feel because of the contractions in our muscles. So sometimes when we have a feeling, I'm sad all the time, we're not actually sad. We just have features that are portraying our body in a way that the mind pick up as if, oh, they are sad.
Yeah.
That's what's going on. So I
But
just
I
love
keep
that.
crying. Yeah,
It's
but I
okay.
don't really.
and what's the problem with that? Crying
Yeah.
happens because there's a thought attached to it. There's something that you keep thinking about.
Yeah. But when I try to remove the label of why I'm crying and just feeling it, then it's like it's just extra crying. Is that because I'm attaching a new label?
Probably. Crying, really sobbing happens again for 7 to 11 seconds. We're not sobbing that long.
No.
There's a thought that is attached to it. Otherwise, it's not happening. The body is running out if you are not fueling it with a thought.
Yeah.
There's just equanimity and contentment in the body when we're not adding anything with thoughts. All the different colors that all the different feelings they have, they're not coming from the body, they're coming from the thoughts. And when we detach the thoughts, it's just contentment and equanimity. And there's nothing else. There's only kind actions. There's only, contentment. If that is
But
not there, it's because of a thought.
and I keep trying to say to myself that everything is like it is, and like it's supposed to be. It cannot be any different. But it's just these holograms keep coming up.
So if that is a metaphor for something that you need to look at, what is it you need to look at?
I need to look for the trust in what I am.
Okay. Can you
And
not,
I need it and I
is
need
that,
it from myself.
yeah, but
Not
is it possible for you not to trust yourself?
no,
So sort it.
it's not.
Sort it.
Yeah. But it's yeah.
It's that easy, Sunny. It is that easy. Whenever because right now you're creating a story out about you not trusting yourself. And now
Yeah.
you're in the stories about you not trusting yourself. You're in your thoughts, back into the body. Is it possible for you not to trust yourself? Is that even possible? A moment is happening this quick. You don't even have time to trust or not trust. The moment is already done. Remember way, way back when I said that the moment is gone like that?
Yeah.
There's not even space or time for you not to trust yourself. That is an idea created by the mind. You cannot be in your life right now where you do not trust yourself or where you do trust yourself. Neither is possible. It's a thought.
Yeah.
Yeah, you want to add?
Well, yes, I do. To create the idea of trust, or the idea about being able to trust yourself, in order to even hold that idea in mind for one moment, there has to be bringing up thoughts about times in the past where you've done something that you regret, that you feel like,
Yeah.
this is why I can't trust myself, because I will make this mistake again. I will do this again. So you're already imagining things which aren't here right now. And then you're projecting into, well, I might do this and I might do that. And you're already not living now where you actually are. You're creating a hypothetical storyline of multiple storylines that may come about, in which case your judgment can't be trusted. And none of that is actually happening. It's only what's happening right here when the decisions are being made, when actions are happening, and that's it. And like Pernilla said, we're basically always playing catch up. We're recognizing after something, not catch up like the food, not catch up, not catch up. Are you joking about
Your accent.
my accent? My accent. I'm the one with the accent.
Yes.
No, we are always playing catch up.
Thank you.
That something has happened and we're noticing it afterwards and taking credit for it afterwards, or we're always trying to pave the way for the future by anticipating what might happen, which is almost never what actually happens. So it's really part of the reason that we come back to the feelings in the body so much is because if you are truly anchored in the sensations in the body, you are here present with what is here right now, and you're not indulging in the past or the future. But also, it's keeping you out of any of the thoughts, whether they are reminiscing, imagining, or even just ruminating about what you're feeling right now. Any of that stuff has to be mind generated, and you can't access that or be taken away by that if you're really anchored in the
Mm.
physical sensations in the present moment.
That's really good.
Thank you. um does that make sense?
Um, I didn't fully get it,
Okay. The self-judgment part, or the staying with the feelings in the body part?
but aren't they linked? I mean,
Well, by thought, but you have to have
yeah,
thought.
yeah.
And so I would say, like, there are, as a bit of an oversimplification, there are basically just three ways that we interact throughout our daily life. And it's either being identified with mind, identified with the thoughts that are going on, whether it's thoughts about the past, the future, or looking at
Or
how
thoughts
things
about
are
this
right
moment.
now. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Things that we think are happening right now and our interpretation of that. We have that way of thinking about, or that way of interacting with experience. We have the being with the actual sensations in the body that are just physical sensations without any thoughts attached to them. It's just the raw, direct experience of sensation. And then we have this third one, which is kind of where you have this feeling of spacious awareness, where you can be aware of thoughts, you can be aware of sensations, but you're not really attached to anything. You feel like this kind of more of a sensory openness, spaciousness, where you might even feel that
It's
you are that, and it's not.
and curiosity.
Yeah, exactly.
Curiosity to what is happening. And whatever is happening, it's completely fine because it's super interesting.
Yeah. And so there's no attachment to any of it. And those are, grossly speaking, the three ways which we kind of navigate throughout the day. And so if you can't be with the open spaciousness right now, where you have that sort of anthropological interest of just being curious about what's going on without actually being identified with it, the best thing you can do is to be deeply in contact with the sensations, because that keeps you away from mind identification, because that's the one that causes
All
absolutely all the
suffering.
suffering,
All suffering.
all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
it does. And I keep trying to remove the labels.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
And
Good.
and it is good. And it's just noticing, like, because they can be so subtle, it can be something really obvious, like I'm feeling sad right now, but it can come in so many different layers, with really persistent underlying thoughts about whatever the object of your you know sadness seems to be,
Mm.
whatever the problem of the moment seems to be, that you keep thinking about. If this feeling of lack of self-worth or whatever is there, it's really recognizing not just that there's some sort of a hologram that's there that's not true, and it's really recognizing, like, how, like, in all the ways that it's showing up, how is it showing up? And that's why we bring up the physical structure of the face, the emotional tone, noticing that, you know, is it a visual thought? Is it an auditory thought? Is it a taste in my mouth? Is it, a scent that's in the air? What really are you experiencing in that moment right then that seems to be associated with that idea of unworthiness, or that label of being a certain way?
Do I have isn't that, didn't you make an inquiry about that? The trauma one for the retreat?
Yeah,
It's
actually, I don't remember.
so
Did we
I
talk
can't
about that
remember.
now?
I can't remember.
I did do one. I don't remember what
No,
I
I
put in
can't
it though.
remember. Because you have an inquiry about it. I just can't remember which one it
I
is.
can't keep track of them at this point.
No.
Um, but
Yeah.
yeah. But
Yeah,
it's
but
basically just being hyper aware as much as possible of the minutia of the experience in any moment, to see how much of it is feeding into what you think is that emotional tone or that starting belief. And then coming back to just the physical sensations. And you, like I said, you might notice that some of those physical sensations are themselves correlating in a way with what we take to be the emotional tone of this moment, in a way that you might not have initially recognized. It might not just be the feeling in the belly. There could be something all up through here and someplace else. It might even be like just outside the body. You might have like a feeling of sensation out there that's giving this whole picture of sadness to this moment, or whatever it is.
yeah, but I can relate to that. A long time after, I was in a surf accident years ago where I sustained a brain injury, and for a lot of years after that, I had the feeling of unsafety outside of my body behind me, where it wasn't even in my body or around my body, or it was somewhere unsafe behind me. Yeah.
And recognizing that even that is a physical sensation. If you feel like you can locate it in space, you can feel it. That's a physical sensation, and be aware of it.
Yeah, and a thought.
And a thought, but it's
Yeah.
it's coming from that,
Yeah.
that physical
Yeah.
sort of a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
I
Thank
will
you.
re-listen.
Amazing. Yeah.
Really good. And
We're
thank you
so
very
excited.
much for your vulnerability. I love that. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's good seeing you.